Everyone's quieting down. Well, you're a good group. Hi, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. So good to have you here. I'm Sharon Corwin, President and CEO of the Terra Foundation for American Art. It is such a pleasure for me to welcome you all to the official launch of Art Design Chicago. Hooray, hooray. We're just delighted to be joined by so many members of the press, as well as grantee partners, artists, and friends from across Chicago and the region. Art Design Chicago is truly a collaborative citywide engagement between arts organizations, artists, and community members. And it's fitting that we are launching the public phase of ADC here at the National Museum of Mexican Art, because this museum so beautifully embodies the idea of working in and for community, which is a key component of ADC. It is my enormous pleasure to introduce the founder and president of the National Museum of Mexican Art, Carlos Tortorello, to the podium and extend my deepest thanks for hosting us today. Carlos, welcome, and thank you again.
Buenas tardes. I'm glad you're all here today. The Terra Foundation for the Art for American art is an integral part of Chicago's art and cultural scene. Terra's investment in the Chicago arts sector and its leadership in ensuring diverse stories are part of the Chicago story has had a huge impact on Chicago's arts organizations and their audiences. On behalf of these organizations and audiences, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've been a major, major player. Thank you. In 2017-18, Terra awarded the museum a grant for our exhibition Arte Diseño Chicago as part of its citywide art design initiative. Arte Diseño Chicago examined the early artistic involvement and influence of Mexicano immigrants and artists in Chicago. Terra's expanded the resources available to us, allowing for a deep dive into culture archives and access to artworks normally outside our budget. The result of this investment is that Chicago Tribune ranked this exhibition as the best in 2018. And it wouldn't have been possible without that investment, because many times the curators come and say, you know, there's this piece. I go, that's going to cost us a fortune to bring. We just can't afford it. Sorry, hit me up later, beat me up later. But the Terra grant made it possible. Thank you, Terra. Next year, the museum will present Arte Diseño Chicago Part 2, which will incorporate some of the research from the early exhibition, as well as new research that was also funded by Terra. Terra's investments allowing the museum to expand access to our exhibitions with audio descriptions for people with low or no eyesight. This is another example of the way Terra is broadening both the stories as well as who has access to these stories. Thank you, Terra. Right now, you can see it today, the museum is presenting the exhibition Carlos Cortez 100 Años. And we had a mural of him up on the Wintrust Mural Building for 2 months. It was great, great, great. Which was also funded through Terra's Arts Design Chicago Initiative. Man, you've been funding us a lot. Keep doing it. Don't stop. This exhibition is a celebration of the legacy of Carlos Cortez, who was an artist, poet, journalist, citizen activist, conscious objector, and an elder in his community. When he spoke, everybody listened to Carlos. So if you were driving around 1994, you may have seen the mural we put up on the mural building earlier this year. Because of the Terra support, the museum can tell the story of this very important figure whose life work continues to uplift artists and marginalized communities, inspiring actions against issues of inequality and oppression. Now, this is a great story. Carlos, he left us his archives. He left us everything. His will was handwritten. And if you see the exhibition, many of his blocks are here, because he didn't destroy his blocks. So his prints, he saved all the blocks. And I love blocks. They're just so beautiful. And what's interesting, in his will, it states, if the price goes up, we have to print up more copies. That's Carlos Cortez. That's why he's such a major figure, one of the good human beings we've had on this planet. Finally, I do want to recognize Nancy Villafranca Guzman, who's over there. Nancy started her career here at the museum and is now Deputy Commissioner of Programming at DK's. Nancy began in high school. I won't mention how many years ago because I like you too much, Nancy, but it was a hell of a long time ago, okay? That didn't help, did it? That didn't help, did it? No. Nancy's a great example of our museums that we focus on providing professional development opportunities for people in the community. We are so proud of all she has and will accomplish. I really do. She's actually a day older than my oldest daughter. So I could want to say, Nancy, I'm glad I have kids as old as you, but she's one day older than my daughter. Thank you all for being here. It means a lot to us. And don't forget to visit exhibitions, okay? Let's keep supporting the arts. We're living in a very scary time. And the arts are essential to our democracy. We need to, that's an argument we should keep using over and over again. Of course, arts are essential to the human spirit. It's good for the economy, all that good stuff. But I think in these scary times, we need to talk about the arts are essential to our democracy more than ever before. So if you promote art, you produce art, you create art, whatever, let's support the arts, all right? Thank you very much for being here.
Oh, thank you, Carlos, for those wonderful remarks and really powerful statements. And for the introduction to the Carlos Cortez exhibition. I know all of us are looking forward to seeing it and spending time with it. So for those of you who are less familiar with the Terra Foundation and with Art Design Chicago, I'm excited to share with you a little bit more about this initiative. The Terra Foundation has been championing American art for nearly 45 years in our home city of Chicago and around the world. We work in partnership with organizations and individuals locally and globally to foster intercultural dialogues and encourage transformative practices to expand narratives of American art. While we are global in our organization and with our international mission, we remain deeply committed to this incredible city. Art Design Chicago is a citywide collaboration and a series of events and exhibitions taking place now through early 2025 that highlight the voices and stories that make up the city's unique artistic and creative communities. By amplifying the stories of art and design in Chicago, the initiative is advancing our mission to broaden understandings of American art. As many of you know, this is a very exciting time for art and design in the city of Chicago, and ADC is one of several events that highlight the creative economies here in this great city. We are joined today by many colleagues and visitors to the Chicago Architecture Biennial, which just launched yesterday, and their presence illustrates the collaboration and connection between organizations that is the spirit of arts in the city and the spirit of Art Design Chicago. The initiative includes more than 35 exhibitions and a few hundred public programs and events, along with numerous publications and digital resources. Currently, programming is planned in more than 30 Chicago neighborhoods and several suburban communities, and this geography will continue to expand as more programs are planned and confirmed. In addition to the Carlos Cortez exhibition here, other Art Design Chicago exhibitions currently on view include work by modernist sculptor Ruth Duckworth at the Smart Museum at the University of Chicago, a group exhibition of Puerto Rican artists connected to Chicago that highlights national pushes for Puerto Rican self-determination at the Museum of Contemporary Art, Chicago, and in the Loop, the inaugural group exhibition of work by Native artists from the Great Lakes region at the Center for Native Futures, which is a new artist-led, Native-led arts organization that the Terra Foundation is honored to support. ADC was developed and has evolved in close conversation with our Chicago partners, all of you, many of you here in this room. And I want to thank you all for being such thoughtful and collaborative co-creators of this initiative over this multi-year planning process. The intent of Art Design Chicago is not only to tell the stories of Chicago's creative past and present, but also to contribute to the vibrancy of the city's arts ecosystem. We aim to catalyze new ways of working that center co-creation, mutually beneficial partnerships, and innovative models of community engagement. Subsequently, we have prioritized relationship building between organizations, creatives, and communities, and intentionally built a network of more than 50 cultural partners that range in mission, scale, and location, and reflect the diversity of Chicago's creative communities. This partner network stretches across the city and greater Chicago area with organizations in Englewood, Edgewater, Elmhurst, Evanston, Ukrainian Village, Hyde Park, Lincoln Park, and the Loop, to name just a few neighborhoods represented in the initiative. Many of the stories presented through Art Design Chicago have not been shared widely before. For example, in addition to the Center for Native Futures, exhibitions and programs at the Block Museum, the Newberry Library, the Mitchell Museum, and the American Indian Center build awareness of the contributions and creative practices of Indigenous artists and designers from the region. Several projects highlight the significant role that Chicago artists and designers have played in movements for social justice and civil rights. These include exhibitions at the Chicago History Museum, the National Public Housing Museum, here at the National Museum of Mexican Art, and programs also organized by the Floating Museum Collaborative and by Tanika Lewis-Johnson. So excited to have you here. And thrilled that you're going to speak more about your project as part of the Art Design Chicago initiative. All of these exhibitions and programs invite us to learn more about the art, culture, and history in our backyards through the lens of some of the city's most dynamic artist communities. By hosting this in-person event today, we are excited to bring together arts organizations, journalists, and creatives to illustrate the scope of this initiative and to facilitate the kinds of conversations we hope Art Design Chicago will spark during and after this initiative. We also want you to hear from not only the Terra Foundation and me, but from, more importantly, our great partners and artists who are part of this collective effort. This initiative is truly a collaboration, and I thank all of our contributors in this room for your creativity and your work to realize ADC. It is now such a pleasure for me to introduce my friend and thought partner, Monique Brickman-Hill, the amazing executive director of the Southside Community Arts Center, who will share a few more thoughts about Art Design Chicago as a partner and as a participant. Monique.
Good afternoon. How's everybody? I'm kind of feeling like, oh, I don't know why, but I was. First, let me just say thank you to Sharon and the Terra Foundation for American Art. They have partnered with the Southside Community Arts Center for a very long time, and you've been an incredibly important collaborative partner with us. And a lot of what we've wanted to do with our archives and our collections, certainly these exhibitions, would not have been made possible without the support. So thank you. Thank you. I see somebody else in the room. I just want to say thank you, because anybody that is part of a nonprofit, you recognize it's not a given. You need people, you need foundations, you need grants, you need individuals, and so this is really meaningful for me. We are beyond thrilled to be able to envision and bring to life the exhibition Resource, Art, and Resourcefulness in Black Chicago. Resource, I tried to say this 5 times really fast, and I'll just tell you that I lost a few words there. But Resource, Art, and Resourcefulness in Black Chicago will be a wide-ranging historical and contemporary exhibition that focuses on Black artists, working with found objects, repurposed materials, environmentally sustainable materials with ecological themes, including utilizing the space of the city itself as a topic and material resource for artists. This exhibition explores Black artists working in Chicago in the 20th century who use found objects or mixed materials in their work. Many of the artists practicing in these media often reflect on concepts concerning the environments and local environs. This exhibition seeks to reflect on how ecological concepts and resourceful cultural practices permeate throughout Black creative expression in Chicago. The title, Resource, refers both to the attitudes and practices of resourcefulness, and the fact that Black artists working in the 20th century, I'd say beyond as well, in Chicago constitute a powerful and under-recognized source of ideas and traditions for artists working today. From 1940, when the center was founded by artists like Dr. Margaret Burroughs, who helped pull together funds for the purchase of the Southside Community Art Center's building, to internationally known artists like Theaster Gates, Chicago Black artists have always made use of what was close at hand: repurposed materials, craft skills, and human connections. Works by these contemporary Black artists reach back to this under-recognized tradition in their engagement with ecological issues and repurposed materials. Subjects include social, racial, and environmental justice, COVID-19, the pandemic, homelessness, and community building. The physical exhibition space will trace this history with works selected from the Southside Community Art Center's collection and carefully chosen loans. We have 3 commissioned works by artists Erica Allen, Candace Hunter, and Fahim Majid. These works cross between indoor and outdoor spaces. Community members and organizations have played a significant role in the exhibition's development and will be key partners during its run. Last fall, for example, they all participated, or many participated, in a hybrid Zoom and in-person symposium that shaped the issues the exhibition will address and began forming relationships to support a broader network of community engagement. When we think about what this means for the center, it means an opportunity to strengthen community networks, like we have here, connecting with individuals and groups around issues with pressing concerns. It also provides education in the arts and culture to a broader audience and introduces the center to those who are not familiar. Importantly, it will help us to focus on art and environmental justice in communities of color at the forefront of citywide conversations. Long-term, this project seeks to blend an intersection of Black art, history, and ecology, both areas of discourse within material culture. And all I can say at this point is stay tuned for the exhibition, Resource, Art, and Resourcefulness in Black Chicago. It promises to be amazing. And in the meantime, you sure can come visit us too. 3831 South Michigan. Right now, I have the pleasure to introduce visual artist and activist Tanika Lewis-Johnson, whose work is featured in Art Design Chicago. We've also had the pleasure of working with her at the Southside Community Arts Center, so I know this is going to be good. She'll speak about her experiences as a participating artist. And again, thank you all for allowing me to share.
Oh, wow, that light is bright and it's dark up here. Okay, so I am going to refer to my notes because I have some very important things I want to remember to say. But first and foremost, as a creative, I'm gonna do a little interactive engagement with you all. So I would like for you to yell yes or no to a list of questions that I'm gonna ask you. Can art help tell stories? Yes. Okay. Can art amplify history? Yes. Can art help people learn, see the world, its problems, and solutions differently? Yes. Okay, good. If you said yes to those questions, let me share a couple of questions with you that I often ask myself with every project that I do. Can large public art projects in disinvested neighborhoods be insulting to a community with needs? What role does public art play in reclaiming power, identity, and ownership? You don't have to answer yes or no, just sit with that. Because that's what I have to do with each of my projects. I do public art. And so my Unblocked project is my latest answer to that question. And I'm so honored to be doing it in a beautiful partnership with people here that, please, I'm going to ask you to stand just a little bit. A beautiful partnership with residents who live on a particular block, TJ, who's here, Maria, my partner, Carla, who represents Chicago Bungalow Association, Amber, the amazing researcher who my project is based off of, and Janelle, my art sister and graphic designer and branding brilliant extraordinaire. This project wouldn't be possible without all of them. We lean on each other for ideas and support, emotional and otherwise. But our project is a collective effort to repair homes and artistically beautify one block in a neighborhood, my home neighborhood, that was hurt by racist housing policies. And so together we are going to beautify homes, repair them, and help Black homeowners in a neighborhood that was redlined and stolen from. And it is my true belief that that kind of partnership is public art. Beautiful homes is public art. And I think we have the vibrantly painted homes of New Orleans to remind us. We have the beautiful color theory project by my big sister in art, Amanda Williams, to remind us of that in Chicago. And I want to also kind of acknowledge that this particular project helps us challenge how we can look at arts funding in a different way. We can help residents on a block. We can help them beautify their homes. And we can help repair, actual, tangible repair to the harms of historic racism in this city. And we can use arts funding to help us do that until more formalized national redress is possible. And I think Art Design Chicago and Terra Foundation, their funding of this project is a statement to that. Our Unblocked project is a statement to that. And I just want to say thank you for all of the support and helping the world see a new way to use arts funding to help us heal. Thank you. But I have other stuff to do. And excuse me, I'm an emotional artist, so talking about these reparative things tear me up. But I don't want to cry as I introduce Nancy, and I want to make sure I'm saying the last name correctly. Nancy Villa. No one gave me a... Say it, I got to get it right. Your name is important. Villafranca. See how that's important? I want to introduce Nancy Villafranca. She is going to speak today about our program, and she also serves as the Deputy Commissioner of Programming for the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, which is also one of my favorite departments of the city because they also funded Unblocked. And she will speak to the impact of Art Design Chicago within our city. So thank you for the wonderful pronunciation of your name. I appreciate it.
Thank you. You're all making me feel so very special today in this very, very special place. Carlos, I don't know if you're still here, but thank you for that kind. No, my work dad. You're always going to be my work dad. Thank you so much. Well, hello again. My name is Nancy Villafranca Guzman. Buenas tardes. As Tanika introduced me, I'm Deputy Commissioner of Programming at DCASE. And really on behalf of our Commissioner, Aaron Harkey, and our entire DCASE team, I just want to express how excited we all are to be here at this moment with this such an important announcement with all of the projects organizations that are going to activate our city through the Art and Design Chicago initiative. And of course, DCASE, along with many of the cultural organizations present here today and museums across the city, we're also really delighted to participate in the program with the inclusion of our very own exhibition, Braiding Histories, which is curated by Kristen Korolwicz and features the work of artist Victoria Martinez. It will be on display at the Chicago Cultural Center this coming spring. And Victoria's work is informed by her own Mexican-American heritage, and she pulls from her cultural sources in the arts of Mexico, public and street art in Chicago, but also African influences in Mexico and Latin America to weave so many different materials and create new sculptural works and paintings that investigate the aesthetic relationships between textiles, architecture, and the urban environment. Victoria's exhibition will, of course, be in great company at the Chicago Cultural Center next year also. We will host the exhibition Images on Which to Build, which is a photographic documentation of activism, education, and media production within trans, queer, and feminist grassroots organizing of the 70s through the 90s that includes the work of another great Chicago artist, Diana Solis. The Cultural Center will also host opening passages. Artists respond to Chicago in Paris. That actually includes a work by Tanika Johnson as well, who's here with us today. But we will also have Midway, the exhibition highlighting the work of Chicago-based photographer Paul D'Amato, whose work captured the lives of people living around Midway Airport. So please come out and visit us next year. As the title of Victoria's exhibition suggests, her one-person exhibition braids various complicated, intersecting, and diverse histories. And as such, serves, I think, as a great example of what Art Design Chicago is attempting also to do in highlighting the many voices and stories in our city's unique artistic heritage and creative communities. In continuing with this metaphor, Art Design Chicago, with its collection of events and exhibitions, is also helping weave together a more inclusive story about Chicago's artistic legacy. Through the highly participatory and collaborative process, Art Design Chicago helps create a more equitable and accessible art community, truly developed in collaboration with cultural practitioners throughout Chicago. Its focus on community engagement and equity as it guides all the potential applicants in their planning journeys meets cultural organizations where they are and provides support where needed. In bringing all participating organizations under a common and relevant theme, it helps create a shared understanding for a citywide learning community. It also strengthens relationships between organizations and communities among one another, but also supports the creation and the building of new relationships where they didn't already exist, and then hopefully builds a community engagement muscle to sustain best practices into the future. We are also very grateful for the Terra Foundation and how it helps fortify our local arts ecosystem, which is at the core of our mission at DCASE as well. The mission of DCASE is to support artists and cultural organizations, invest in the creative economy, and expand access and participation in the arts throughout all of our neighborhoods. As a collaborative cultural presenter, arts funder, and advocate for creative workers, our programs and events aim to serve Chicagoans and visitors of all ages and backgrounds. But this is work that we cannot do alone or by a single hand. Supporting Chicago artists and arts organizations and ensuring equitable access to the arts is work that we can best do together. DCASE and the City of Chicago is proud to partner with the Terra Foundation and Art Design Chicago to be part of this larger collective sharing and stimulating expansive narratives of Chicago art design past and present. So really congratulations to all the other participating organizations, and I really look forward to personally partaking in the citywide cultural experience that brings all of our arts community together to engage with one another, with Chicagoans, with visitors, and just really continue building the relationships with one another to help us build a better Chicago. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sorry. So thank you all. Thank you, Carlos and Monique and Tanika and Nancy, for your remarks, your incredible work at your respective institutions, and your partnership. That is the end of our formal part of this program. We're just delighted we're all here together to celebrate Art Design Chicago, to celebrate the incredible arts communities and creative community here in Chicago. Please enjoy the rest of the reception. Please enjoy the Carlos Cortez exhibition. And look forward to the months ahead and visiting the great exhibitions and participating in the events that will be happening here in the city of Chicago with Art Design Chicago. Thank you.